Solo travel can be totally daunting. For a lot of us, it's scary. We're thinking like, okay, what if I feel super alone? What if I get sick? What if I lose my passport? What if I don't have enough money or I run out of money and I don't know where to go? What if I don't speak the language and I don't have anybody to talk to? So it can be pretty scary to travel solo if you've never done it before. And honestly, I've been there too. But here's the deal. Those fears are the reason to go. In this video, I will show you how stepping into the unknown, how traveling solo completely changed my life, my perspective on myself, my perspective on the world, and how I think it can probably change yours too. So if you're interested in learning more about solo travel, stick with me. We'll get into it right now. Hi guys, welcome back to Wander with Bree. I am Bree and we are in the park today. My husband and I are selling our house and it is chaos in there. If you're new here, welcome. Again, my name is Bree. This is Wander with Bree. This is the YouTube channel where we discover all things travel and tech related. And today I want to talk a little bit about sort of how I fell in love with solo travel and give you some tips and tricks of how you can travel solo as well. So for me, I got to a point in life where all of my friends were sort of like doing their own thing. You know, they were raising kids, they were getting married, harder and harder to find people to travel with. And I'm not the kind of person to sit around and wait. So I just started traveling and I did it on my own. And it was one of the greatest decisions I have ever made and has made me the person that I am today. In this video, I will share how I did it, exactly how I started solo traveling, and how you can do it too. But I'm also going to show you some tips and tricks of exactly how you can do it too. And if you have any questions, please share them down below. Again, if you are new to the channel and you haven't yet subscribed, please consider subscribing down below. The more you like, subscribe, and comment, then other people just like you can find videos like this and hopefully will have the opportunity to travel more and often and more comfortably. Typically, using technology now is one of the best things for me. And if you're interested in what types of AI or what types of technology can help you, then you can check out the card here and I will show you a little bit more of how you can use technology to help yourself travel solo or not. My first trip abroad was in Italy when I was 16. That was sort of a pilgrimage. It was a mess. And my second trip that I did abroad, I was 25 and I went to Seville. And I learned how to teach English as a foreign language. I was there for a month. I didn't know anybody. I met a lot of people. I, unfortunately for myself, never really learned much Spanish. So I found myself meandering around on one of my weekends off with an actual paper map because, again, I was 25. So this was like 2010, 2009, right? I'm 40. So like do the math, right? Anyway, I got lost and I kept going up to individuals, asking them for directions, trying to figure out wherever I was trying to go or trying to figure out where I was. And I could not communicate with people. I ended up on that trip, not only getting lost that day, but I also made a mistake in how I booked my accommodation. So I arrived 2 days early. I did not account for jet lag. So I woke up at, I don't know, in the middle of a city that dies at 8 o'clock at night. Then the next day I had to check out of my hotel at 10 a.m. and I wasn't able to check back in to my next accommodation until, I don't know, 5 p.m. or something. I also somehow ran out of money that first day there. So I had to figure out how to get on the phone with my parents and get money. It was rough. So I ended up sitting here at 25 wondering what the hell I had just done to my life. So yeah. It can be pretty hard to plan an entire trip all by yourself, and it can be really daunting. But as long as you have the right tools, what happened to me in Sevilla likely won't happen to you wherever you're going. And I'm going to teach you how to avoid that. So let's talk a little bit about, after everything that I just said, why you might even consider solo travel. First of all, you have the freedom to make your own choices. I personally am an introvert and a people pleaser. So I started learning that when I travel alone, I don't have to make anybody else around me happy. I don't have to make conversation with anybody. I can just do my own thing. If I want to get up very early in the morning and go for a long walk, which is my favorite thing to do, and take photos and experience the city or the area while it's quiet before anybody else is out, before the tourists are out, and then go to lunch or take myself out to dinner or join a group for, a bar hopping or something, I can do that. And if I decide that I booked something and I don't want to go to it anymore, I don't feel guilty about it. I just don't go. Traveling alone taught me to prioritize my own needs and interests. I got to know who I was, what I needed, and then I had some alone time to sort of enjoy my quiet time. There were times where I was really happy sitting alone in a cafe journaling or reading a good book in a garden. It's a wonderful time to recharge, especially if you're an introvert, if you're quiet, if you're overwhelmed, or if you're stressed. And again, like I said, if you're done, you're done. It can also help you to build confidence. I cannot tell you the feeling that I had when I was traveling through Tokyo on my own last year, when I was navigating the train system, which is in another language, when I was navigating through the different cities and still getting myself to try the different izakayas that I wanted to see, that I was booking the places that I wanted to go to. And when you handle something that is extremely challenging and you come out of it on the other side, you just have so much confidence. By the way, if you are interested in traveling by yourself, you should also learn how to use Google Maps. It's so easy. You download the map onto your phone, and before you even leave, you load all of the places where you want to eat. You load all the places that you want to see, where you want to take pictures, where you're going to be staying, like your hotel stays. And then it's available on your phone for you 24/7. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can just click the little card up here and you can see the video that I made about Google Maps. So the other thing that's really great about solo travel is embracing spontaneity. For most people, we kind of get set in our ways. We have a plan, but the beautiful thing is you can kind of set up a loose plan, and then just if you decide one morning, you wake up, you decide you want to go for a walk or you want to go for a swim in the lake. For me, I decided at the last minute in Kyoto that it was really important to me to have an experience wearing a kimono, and I was able to just do that. And I didn't have to ask anybody about it. I was able to just do it. So as often as possible, whenever I travel alone, I try to go to a bar or something. And it's great because you can sit up at the bar, you end up talking with the bartenders, you end up talking with other people sitting there. You don't have to drink. But other times I bring my Kindle, I sit at the bar, and I end up talking to other travelers. You get to know other people. You're expanding your world and expanding your community. And oftentimes you only get that opportunity because you are alone and because you are open to making conversation. So on that, same topic, there are some unexpected perks of traveling solo. Namely, it's significantly easier to get upgraded and into things when it's just one person. But there was a time that I wanted to go to a speakeasy in London, and everything I read said it's incredibly difficult to get into. I just walked up and said, "Hi, could I maybe just sit at the bar?" And they let me. And it was so cool. So it can just be a little bit more challenging when you're traveling with more than one person. Obviously, it's lovely to share the experience with somebody else. But if you are traveling alone, there are some really kind of cool, unexpected perks. Now that we've talked about the perks and some of the things that you can really enjoy while you're traveling solo and some things that you'll get out of traveling solo, let's talk a little bit about safety. When you are traveling solo, you do need to be careful. You need to be conscientious and aware of your surroundings. While you don't need to be scared, you can take something from being scary and turn it into not so scary by just being prepared. So for example, whenever I travel solo, I will thoroughly research my destination. These days, what I'll do is I'll hop onto, say, ChatGPT, and I will research my itinerary, get everything set up, figure out where my hotel is and all that kind of stuff. And then I will do additional research on the looking to go to Rwanda. I didn't know anything about it. At the time, I had no idea that it was supposed to be one of the best places in the world for female solo travelers. And having been there, I will absolutely agree that that is the case. I felt incredibly safe there. And if any of you are ever considering going to Rwanda, please go. Reach out to me. I will give you some great contacts. But before you go, research the customs, research the area, know whether or not it's important to, dress a certain way, if it's maybe important to be a little bit more conservative, or if there are certain cultural norms. You could also learn if there's certain neighborhoods to avoid or areas to avoid to feel safe. Learn about the money, how you typically need to pay, whether or not it is cash-based system, if it's Apple Pay, if it's credit card. You can learn all of that stuff in advance. With that, you want to listen to your instincts. If for whatever reason your gut is telling you something is wrong or a person is iffy, get out of there. Don't question it. Just leave. And then you want to stay connected. So when I travel, I I build an itinerary in Google Maps, and then I also will build it in Excel, and I will take that, and then I will also copy and paste it into an email, just in case my family, which, we have a few boomers, just in case they don't feel comfortable with either one of those, I will send them the Excel, the Google Maps, and an email. Like when I was in Japan, I just let them know generally where I was going to be and whether or not I thought I was going to have reception. The other thing that I actually learned from my good friend Lee in Rwanda is to share your location with close friends or family. Anybody that you trust, if you want them to know sort of where you are at any time, they can pop on to Find My Friends and they can look and see where you are at that time. Along those lines, you also want to download your Google Map. So not just download the Google Maps app, you want to actually plan out your trip and then download the map for that area. So if for whatever reason you don't have reception, you still have access to the map for that area. So with that said, tell your friends and family your plans, but don't tell strangers your plans. And if somebody asked me, taxi driver or somebody at a restaurant or something asked me specifically about my plans, where I was going, when I was going, I wouldn't share them truthfully. I would just maybe give generalities, but you don't need to be sharing all of your information with people that you don't know, and you don't know if they deserve your trust at all. With that, I would also keep your socials private or delayed. So if you are going to be posting on Instagram stories, I would always do them a day, 3, 4 delayed. And not only is that a good way, keep yourself safe. You don't need, especially if you have like a public Instagram account, you don't need everybody and their mother to know what you're doing, when you're doing it, or what restaurant you're sitting at that time. Another note is be mindful of where you stay. So I typically like to stay in areas that are very close to everything that I think I'll be doing, because as an American, not driving is a luxury for me. So I will almost always stay close to a train station if I can, or in an area where it's easier to get some sort of public transportation, a bus or a driver or Uber, just depending on the country. And that way it's easy for me to get around. It's one less thing I have to think about. And I know a lot of people love Airbnbs, VRBOs. There's nothing wrong with them. I spend quite a bit of time in Airbnbs and VRBOs as well. But 2 things. One, I like to point hack, and that's almost impossible. I don't know how to do that with Airbnbs and VRBOs. But 2, I also feel safer traveling when I can talk to the people at the hotel. I'll always walk in, I'll say hi to the people that are working the front desk. It just feels like one extra layer of somebody noticing if you don't show up. And then lastly, it seems pretty obvious, but I think it's really important to note, especially if you have not traveled yet, secure your belongings. So separate a few of your things. So if you have cash, don't keep your cash all on you. Leave some back at the hotel in the locked box, or put some in one purse, leave some in your luggage, bring some with you. If you're going to have cash, always wrap the smallest bill around the outside, keep the biggest bill on the inside, especially if you're trying to negotiate. You don't need them to see how much money you have. I love wearing like those Lululemon bags, and I'll wear it so that like the pouch is in the front so that I have access to whatever it is with me. I don't normally like take my passport with me if I'm going out and about, but I'll keep it like on the inside zipper so it's right on me. When we were in Paris, I got one of those chains that kind of like goes crossbody and you can hang it. I'll see if I can find something and link it down below. That was also really helpful because it's sort of like a chain, and then you can put your cards with it as well. And basically, whenever you're traveling, try to put your stuff on the front. Don't have a backpack that's out and about for people in a train station to take stuff out of. And then just be aware of your surroundings. And I know they sell like anti-theft bags. I've not quite gotten there yet, mostly because, I don't think they're very cute. So with these safety tips in mind, solo travel becomes not just possible, but incredibly empowering. There are all sorts of reasons why you should be afraid of solo travel, and none of them are valid. I mean, they're valid, but you can overcome them. I am an introvert and a homebody. So I love being at home. I love being in my house. I am a Taurus. I love being on my couch. I love feeling comfy. I love being next to my dog. And literally every single trip I have ever had, right before the trip, I regret it. I am not interested in going, and I want to unpack my bags and I want to sit right there very comfortably. I went to South Africa when I was 21, and so I misspoke. I said Sevilla was my second international trip. That's not true. That was my third. 4th, because I'd been to Mexico. Anyway, before I went to South Africa, I remember sitting on my couch with my cat, watching TV, and thinking, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go. I don't want any of this. I don't want to try new food. I want my routine, and I want my nice little life here, which is funny because, as I mentioned, I'm ADHD and I like change. So it's an interesting quandary, but the majority of the time, I'm scared to go on a trip. And I don't want to go anymore. And all of these fears creep up. What if I'm not safe? What if I'm lonely? I will tell you, I do get lonely on trips. And that's okay. It's pushing through it that makes you even stronger, that lets you know that you can handle that. Solo traveling changed my life. I learned how to spread my wings. I learned independence. I learned how to navigate the world on my own. And I learned I can do hard things. Not just hard things like, finish a project by a certain day or interview for jobs or do public speaking. Not that kind of a hard thing, but a hard thing like leaving your comfy couch with your familiar routine. It's hard. That's brave. And let me tell you something, the people that you meet when you're traveling solo, other solo travelers, are freaking awesome. Probably the most interesting group of people I've ever met in my life. Solo travel allowed me to escape that veil that you have, right? So in your daily life, there is this perception of you that you agree to, that your coworkers agree to, that everybody at school, that your family, you're a youngest child, you are a type A, you are outgoing, you are smart or frazzled or late or kind or polite or whatever it is that the outside sees looking in, that you have accepted and that over time people have accepted about you. When you travel, specifically when you travel solo, you get to sort of look at like, well, actually I'm not all that introverted. I need downtime and then I'm really comfortable meeting new groups of people. So you get to decide who you are. Travel is about figuring out who you are and who you want to be and what foot do you want to put forward. And when you're traveling alone, you get to reflect on that time and that space, and you get to be who you really want to be. So if you are hesitant about solo travel, don't be. You've got this. You want to plan for where you're going to be. You want to pack efficiently. You want to make sure that you're close to transportation. You just want to do your homework ahead of time. And if solo travel feels like a dream, just start small. Don't forget to check out my videos on Google Maps, AI planning, and other helpful tech to plan your solo adventure. Solo travel is phenomenal. Don't wait for somebody else to be ready for you to be able to go on an adventure of a lifetime or just on an adventure. If you'd like help along the way, please consider subscribing. And if you're not quite sure what you're interested in, don't worry, just hang out till the end of the video. The algorithm will provide a video for you at the end of this that they believe is what you would like to see. Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope that you enjoyed this outside chat. And I am super grateful for the fact that you guys were here. I can't wait to see you guys next week. Who knows where I'll be. Take care. Bye.